I was born a low-class Omega in the slums. For money and power, I sold myself to Landon, an imperial general, and became his lover for 7 years. The day I learned he got engaged, I told him it was over. Thanks for taking care of me all these years. Then, without looking back, I got into another Alpha's car. The next day, I was dragged in front of Landon with a sack over my head. The Alpha looked down at me with dark, cold eyes, gripping my chin. So eager, huh? Trying to find a new father for the baby in your belly? Don't bite anymore. I reached up and pushed the Alpha, pressing down on me. My heat had lasted 3 days straight, overwhelming and brutal. I was lying in the nest Landon built for me, my whole body drenched in his scent, my waist and stomach sore and weak. It took me until now just to catch my breath. I still have a meeting tomorrow, I murmured. The Alpha narrowed his eyes, clearly annoyed. Then he grabbed my chin. Hunter, am I just your toy? Once your heat's over, you just throw me away. Landon's beautiful eyes were full of frustration, but after all these years, I knew his temper too well. I looped my arms around his neck, kissed the corner of his lips softly. There's been so much going on lately. Once things calm down, I'll make it up to you, okay? The thing you wanted to try last time, we can do that too. Seeing that he still didn't move, I added softly, honey. His cold expression finally softened a little. He clicked his tongue but let me go. Don't back out later, he warned. The next morning, I stood in front of the mirror. Expressionless, I pressed a suppression patch firmly on the back of my neck. The reflection showed a pale face, lips curved slightly downward. A face that looked harsh, even unfriendly. But that wasn't a bad thing. The Empire never lacked delicate, fragile Omegas, and I had no desire to be one of them. At the meeting, I submitted the 23rd revision of the Omega Rights Bill. As expected, it was rejected again. I didn't react, just calmly accepted it. In the restroom stall, I heard laughter coming from the sinks. Omegas are such a joke. They really think being a council member gives them a voice. I bet Hunter only got his seat because Landon wanted to keep him around. Just a plaything. Imagine if he actually had real power. You can smell the Alpha scent all over him. He probably spent last night with Landon again. Ha 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 ha. My fingers twitched. I pressed the suppression patch harder against my neck until it sealed tight. The laughter faded down the hall. Silence returned. I pushed open the door and walked out. Face blank, lips still curved downward. Their words echoed in my head. With a face like this, how much longer could Landon love me? No matter how long it lasts. For now, I'm still by his side. The thought made the corner of my mouth lift slightly. I wiped my glasses and stepped out. Smoking was banned in the Empire Tower, but some Alphas with strong cravings still sneaked a puff in the stairwell. Got a light? The Alpha, head lowered, answered instinctively, then looked up and froze. Hunter, he smirked, his tone mocking. A delicate Omega like you, careful not to choke on the smoke. Thud. The overweight Alpha hit the stairs hard. I looked down at him from above. What are you doing? Without expression, I stepped down and crushed 3 of his fingers under my heel. His scream echoed sharply. With a click, the lighter flicked on, lighting the cigarette between my lips. Smoke curled upward into the air. His groans filled the stairwell. But suddenly, I felt nothing, no thrill, no satisfaction. Nicotine was dull. I wasn't someone who enjoyed smoking. Truthfully, I hated anything addictive. But some things, once you get hooked, they cling to you like a curse. Like nicotine. Like power. I looked down at my own hand. Pale bones, blood-stained fingers. These hands were already, beyond saving. Ring ring. My phone buzzed in my pocket. I put out the cigarette and answered. Landon's voice came through. Hunter, the meeting ended ages ago. Why aren't you home yet? I'm on my way, I said softly. The half-smoked cigarette still glowed faintly. I bent down, shoved it between the Alpha's lips, and looked him in the eye. Remember this, don't ever mess with me again. When I got home, the dining table was already full of dishes, lavish and perfectly set, just like always. The young master's favorite abalone soup and bird's nest porridge are ready. You've lost weight lately, eat more. Thanks. Landon asked casually, why are you home so late today? I sat down and answered, got held up with something. He nodded slightly. Eat. Then added, next time, message me first. I'll send someone to pick you up. I lowered my head and took a spoonful of porridge. Okay. Halfway through dinner, Landon's phone rang. He frowned. I knew he hated being disturbed during meals. What is it? He asked. Whatever was said on the other end made his face grow serious. Then he looked at me. I see. My fingers curled slowly under the table. When he hung up, silence filled the room. So that's what you meant by being held up? Breaking Gabriel's fingers. You've got some nerve. You'll cover for me, won't you? I asked quietly. Landon stared at me for a few seconds, then smiled faintly. A beautiful face with a venomous heart. He had said the same thing years ago, the time I killed the man who insulted me. There was no disgust in his voice back then, only amusement and something like admiration. I knew he didn't hate it, so I smiled too. Thank you, General. That night, Landon was rougher than usual in bed. By the middle of the night, I could barely take it. Please, I can't anymore, I whispered. He didn't answer, just moved harder. After I cleaned up your mess, you won't even let me collect a little interest? Hearing that, all the fight went out of me. After all, with him, I never really had the right to resist. But maybe seeing how helpless I looked made Landon ease up. His movements slowed, giving me a bit of space to breathe. Sometime near dawn, exhaustion took over and I passed out completely. Half asleep, I felt him pick me up and carry me to the bathroom, gently washing me off. The high-ranking general of the Empire, taking care of a low-born Omega like that. It reminded me of the first time he found me, in the middle of the slums, surrounded by corpses. He had done the same thing then, lifted me up, put me in a tub, and washed away all the filth. I was a low-class Omega, born in the slums. I never knew my father. Before I even differentiated, my mother prayed I'd become a high-ranking Alpha, someone who could at least give her a better life, a little more respect in that rotten place. But things didn't go her way. I didn't become an Alpha, which meant I'd never have the right to leave the slums. There, everyone was just like me, low-born Omegas and ordinary Betas, invisible in the eyes of the Empire. Omegas were like ants on the roadside, anyone could crush them. A year later, a riot broke out on Blue Star. The government ordered the area cleansed. In that massacre, I lost my only family, my mother. That year, the streets were covered in bodies. When I opened my eyes, all I saw was death. I had never hated anyone more than I hated those so-called noble people, who treated lives like dirt. That was when I met Landon. I had never seen someone so tall, so striking. His uniform was sharp, and the medals on his shoulders gleamed under the sun, a reminder of how far apart our worlds were. Someone beside him said, "Only one survivor left." Landon just nodded. Then he looked at me and stretched out his hand. "Want to come with me?" I didn't know why Landon took me home, but at that moment, I had only one thought: to survive. Because only by living could I ever think about revenge. But my body was weak, damaged. No matter how carefully Landon told people to care for me, I was like a fragile vase. No matter how many expensive herbs they gave me, a small chill could send me into fever again. Hunter's been checked, just a fever. Some 4 fluids and a few days rest should fix it, the family doctor said before leaving. I lay in bed, my whole body burning up. When the door closed, I cracked my eyes open, and shot Landon a weak, resentful look. It was his fault I'd be out of commission for days again. Landon seemed to catch my meaning. He smacked my backside lightly, still blaming me. "You're just too delicate." Even though he teased me, he cancelled his work and stayed home with me all day. That night, he told the housekeeper to make seafood porridge. It was thick and fragrant, clearly made with care. But when the spoon reached my lips, a wave of nausea hit me out of nowhere. Landon's expression darkened. He thought I was just being stubborn again. "Hunter," he said sternly, "you want to starve yourself to death?" Already feeling awful, his tone only made something inside me snap. I buried myself under the blanket, refusing to come out. "Hunter," he tried to threaten me, but it didn't work. "This isn't like you." When I still didn't answer, Landon sighed, set the bowl down, and walked out. I stayed hidden, sulking, but a strange unease crept into my chest. The nausea, the sudden mood swings. Could it be? No, that was impossible. I shook my head hard, trying to chase the thought away. A low-born Omega with a body this weak. How could I possibly be pregnant? To be safe, I decided to go to the hospital next week for a checkup. The thought was still circling in my mind when suddenly, the blanket above me was lifted. Landon stood there with a bowl of plain noodles in his hand. "Not afraid of suffocating yourself under there? You wouldn't eat the seafood porridge, so noodles should be fine, right?" I sat up and muttered softly, "Okay." He sighed. "You're really something, Landon." He had never treated me badly, not once all these years. But if I really was carrying his child, what would he do to me then? He didn't like children, and someone like him, a powerful, high-ranking Alpha, would never allow a low-born Omega to bear his child. He'd most likely make me get rid of it, or worse, tell me never to appear in front of him again. No, that couldn't happen. I gripped the blanket tightly. I still needed him. Someone like me, getting close to Landon was already a miracle. I couldn't throw it all away because of a child. If I really was pregnant, then Landon could never know. "What's wrong with you?" I looked up to see him frowning slightly. You've been distracted lately. Did something happen? I quickly shook my head. No, I'm worried Gabriel might try to get back at me. I lowered my head, pretending to look anxious. Maybe I should apologize to him. Landon chuckled. Now you're scared. You weren't so gentle when you hit him. Don't worry about it. He won't be attending alliance meetings anymore. You probably won't see him again. I looked up in surprise. What do you mean? Exactly what you think I mean. A rush of relief and shock hit me all at once. Gabriel's position in the alliance wasn't low, but with just one word from Landon, he was gone. His power, it was far beyond what I'd imagined. Instinctively, my hand went to my stomach. Rest well, he said, ruffling my hair lazily. Little liar. After that incident, when I hurt Gabriel but faced no punishment, the way people in the alliance looked at me changed. They must have realized I had more influence than they thought. Enough to make Landon protect me. Some started keeping their distance. Others were polite but cautious. I didn't care either way. By Friday, before work even ended, I took the afternoon off and drove to the hospital for the test. Landon couldn't know about this. He'd definitely get suspicious. So I had to make it quick. Sitting in the hallway, I felt restless the whole time. When the doctor finally came out with the report, he pushed up his glasses and looked at me carefully. Hunter, yes, you're pregnant. His words hit me like lightning. That's impossible, I blurted out. He smiled lightly. Didn't you come because you had pregnancy symptoms? Then, half-jokingly, shouldn't you be happy about it? I forced a weak smile. No, I am just surprised. Thank you, doctor. He gave a long list of pregnancy precautions, but I barely heard a word. Numbly, I took the report and walked out of the hospital, feeling completely lost. And then, Hunter, it was Jack, my colleague. What a coincidence, he said with a friendly smile. No wonder you left work early. Not feeling well. I instinctively hid the report behind my back. Just a small cold. You've been working too hard lately. Take care of yourself. Jack was the only alpha in the alliance who openly supported Omega rights, and the only one who had ever helped me when I was struggling. I was grateful to him, enough to see him as a friend. This law passed thanks to you, I said. Let me treat you to dinner. Jack grinned. Sure. Since it was last minute, we picked a random restaurant nearby. Halfway through the meal, Jack said, Hunter, what is it? He reached out and wiped my cheek with a napkin. There was curry on your face. I shifted away awkwardly. I can do it myself. He laughed, handing me the napkin. By the way, do you know that guy outside? He's been standing there for a while, watching you. I turned my head toward the window. Outside, a familiar black car was parked. The driver stood nearby. Inside the car, through the half-lowered window, I saw Landon's sharp profile. My fingers froze around my chopsticks. That's when I remembered. I hadn't told Landon I was going out to dinner. I must have been too distracted by the pregnancy news. He just sat there, watching. Without sending a message or making a call, panic rushed in. I stood up immediately. I'm sorry, Jack, I have to go. I hurried outside, opened the car door, and got in. Sorry, General, I said quickly. The person I was with is just a colleague. He helped me a lot recently, so I wanted to thank him with dinner. I should have told you. I'll make sure to next time. Just this once, he said quietly. But no matter what I said after that, Landon stayed silent. The silence followed us all the way home. For the first time, I felt completely lost. When we walked in, the butler greeted us. Today's your birthday, sir. The general came home early to prepare a surprise for you. I blinked. Only then did I notice the beautifully wrapped gift box on the table. And sir, the butler added awkwardly, your alpha scent is quite strong today. Perhaps you should take a bath first. Alphas are possessive creatures. I'd known that for a long time, but I never really knew how to please one. So, helplessly, I went to ask my Omega friend Jacob. He was the lover of one of Landon's friends. Compared to him, I was like a sparrow beside a peacock. The first time I met him, I thought, I could never sound that soft or sweet. Jacob took a sip of his drink and pointed at me. You don't even know how to coax your partner? You're such a strange Omega. He's your lover, not some random guy. If you truly loved him, you'd know what makes him happy. I froze. You love your alpha. Of course, Jacob said without hesitation. Don't you? I couldn't answer, because I honestly didn't know. Ever since I crawled out of that pile of corpses, I had forgotten how to love. When surviving itself is hard enough, who has the right to talk about love? Between us, need was the better word. He needed my body. I needed his power. After all, love is a luxury I could never afford. 13. Making an alpha happy isn't hard, Jacob said with a playful grin. Just buy him a few gifts, even better if you spend his money. So, I did buy a gift. In my hand was a pair of custom-made cufflinks shaped like wood anemones. Their meaning was simple: I belong only to you. It felt fitting. All I needed was the right moment to give them. The moment came soon. It was during Landon's sensitivity period. The tall Alpha lay on the bed, his scent filling the entire room. When he saw me come in, he turned his head away like a sulking child. I climbed onto the bed carefully and held his hand. Are you still mad at me? Don't be angry, okay? Let me help you, please. Landon gave a low hum. And how are you going to help me? With your terrible kissing skills? I froze, embarrassed. Because he wasn't wrong. Even after all these years, I still wasn't good at that. Leaning down, I straddled him and kissed his lips, his jaw, his neck. My movements were clumsy and hesitant. Finally, Landon lost his patience and flipped me over beneath him. Instinctively, I covered my stomach. What's wrong with your stomach? He asked. Nothing, I replied quickly. He studied me for a moment, then vented his frustration against my thigh. Afterward, he gave himself a shot of suppressant. Sleep. Stop overthinking, he muttered. The next morning, I saw him buttoning up his shirt in front of the mirror. On his cuffs glinted the pair of wood anemone cufflinks. Wood anemone? He asked casually. I swallowed hard. Yeah, it means, I belong only to you. Landon's eyes darkened slightly. He tilted my chin up and kissed me until I could barely breathe. I hate when your eyes look at other alphas, he said in a low voice. I caught my breath and nodded. I understand. 14. I still hadn't figured out what to do about the baby. If time passed and my stomach grew, there'd be no way to hide it. 2 weeks later, I made up my mind. I would end the pregnancy. It wasn't what I wanted, but there was no choice. Landon hated children. And even more, he would never allow a low-class Omega to bear his child. I'm sorry, I whispered to the tiny life that hadn't yet formed. Head lowered, I didn't notice someone walking toward me until I bumped into him. The Alpha scowled and snapped, "Watch where you're going." I frowned, swallowing my apology. Well, if it isn't Hunter, he sneered. You've been doing pretty well for yourself lately, huh? But I wonder how long it'll last. You know the general's getting engaged, right? I can't wait to see the day you get kicked out like a stray dog. Engaged? At first, I didn't even process what he said. By the time I did, he was already gone. I stood frozen, muttering under my breath, is that so? No anger, no shock, no sadness, just a dull sense of confusion washing over me. I'd been with Landon for so many years, so long that I'd forgotten how to live without him. That thought alone terrified me, because deep down, I had always known. I was never meant to stay by his side forever. 15. What should I do if my sponsor is getting married? I made a post on an anonymous forum. Out of dozens of comments, some insults, some gossip. A few were actually helpful. Don't cling to him. Rich men hate that. Leave with dignity. He might even give you some money out of guilt. I put my phone away. When I got home, Landon wasn't back yet. I leaned against the sofa, about to turn on the TV. But the butler hurried over. Hunter, the TV's broken, he said nervously. Let's wait a few days before fixing it. I smiled faintly. Landon's getting engaged, isn't he? If that's what this is about, I already know. The butler fell silent. I turned on the TV anyway. As expected, every news channel was flooded with headlines about Landon's engagement to Kevin. I stayed on the couch, waiting for him to come home. When he finally did, it was late. He saw me half asleep and smiled, leaning down to kiss me. Still up? Were you waiting for me? I nodded. Yeah, I needed to talk to you. What is it? You're getting engaged, aren't you? Landon froze, clearly surprised I'd found out so soon. He frowned for a moment, then nodded. Yes. I pressed my lips together, my words suddenly gone. I had rehearsed this conversation so many times in my head, but when he stood before me, I went blank. Kevin has good family background, looks, and he's a high-class Omega. Landon cut me off. Are you jealous? He sat beside me, slipped an arm around my shoulders. Relax, I think you two suit each other, I interrupted softly. Landon, marry him. Let's end this between us. 16. I knew what he was about to say. Something like, don't worry, even if I marry him, you'll still have your place. But that, to me, was too humiliating to bear. Even a low-class Omega deserves a shred of dignity. We're over, I said quietly. I won't bother you again. I stood up and bowed deeply. Thank you for taking care of me all these years. I meant it. I truly did. Even if he never needed my gratitude. Landon just stared at me in silence, his expression darkening more with every second. Finally, he spoke in a low, dangerous voice. What did you just say? End it, I repeated. He clenched his jaw. Hunter, say that again. I'll pack my things tomorrow and. Fine. He cut me off sharply. Fine, Hunter. You're amazing. Someone like you doesn't even have a heart, does he? He stormed out, slamming the door behind him. He looked genuinely angry, maybe because I was the one who ended it first. Alphas were proud creatures, after all. It must have bruised his ego. Maybe I should have waited. Let him be the one to throw me away. I sighed, suddenly regretting it. Truthfully, I didn't have much to pack. There wasn't anything I could take with me anyway, so I just grabbed a few clothes and stuffed them in a backpack. When I left, it started to rain lightly. I crouched outside a convenience store to avoid the rain, realizing I hadn't eaten and was starving. But I'd left in such a hurry, I hadn't brought any money. Just as I was wondering what to do, a car honked twice nearby. The window rolled down. It was Jack. Hunter, what are you doing here? He asked. Where are you going? I'll give you a ride. 17. Jack's sudden appearance felt like a lifesaver. He immediately saw how awkward I was and offered that I stay at his place for the night. The rain outside grew heavier, and I didn't refuse. After separating from Landon, I began thinking again about the baby in my womb. For someone like me, carrying a pregnancy wasn't easy. Maybe having my own child wasn't such a bad thing. I could raise him healthy and happy, even on my own. So, I made a new decision. I would keep him. The next day, I left Jack's place, planning to drive to the hospital for another checkup. But just as I got into the car, a pair of hands suddenly came from the back seat. A handkerchief was pressed over my mouth and nose. A sickly sweet scent filled my nose, and I had no chance to resist. I lost consciousness completely. 18. When I opened my eyes again, I saw a familiar chandelier. Blinking hard, I realized I seemed to be home. Impossible. I sat up abruptly. The sound of chains rattled. Looking down in disbelief, I saw a chain locked around my wrist. Landon, I shouted. You're awake. Landon's dark figure leaned in the doorway. He didn't move for a long time, just stared at me with a shadowed expression. Then he grabbed my chin. Enjoying your stay at Jack's, huh? Already trying to give the baby a new dad? I froze, stunned. How do you know? I asked instinctively. I know everything about you, baby, he said calmly. You went to the hospital, took the report out. You wanted to schedule an abortion, then cancelled. Every little move of yours. I know it all. Did you really think you were hiding it from me? The Landon in front of me felt strangely unfamiliar. I instinctively took 2 steps back, trying to escape the suffocating aura around him. I've known everything about you all these years. You said you were mine. 19. Before I could speak, Landon suddenly grabbed my neck. Can Jack even compare to me? He hissed. The rights, status, and wealth I can give you, he can't give you any of it. He's nothing but a loser. He didn't use much force, but I immediately felt short of breath. My face went pale. You see yourself, Landon said, with a hint of amusement in his voice. So delicate, so fragile. What would I do without you? I stammered. Stay, as your mistress. Landon paused, then laughed at me. Did I marry him? And suddenly you're a mistress? Isn't it just a matter of time? He stood up and shook my chin roughly. His eyes and tone were harsh. A mistress, so what? I won't let you leave. You can't leave. 20. I was completely confined by Landon. Even though the chains on my wrists were gone, I couldn't step out the door. Jack had tried to find me after I was taken, but the house was guarded tightly. He couldn't get inside at all. Landon, busy with some unknown matters, came and went without a word. When he returned, he held me close and slept with me in silence. One morning, I was woken by noise. The usually quiet house had an unusual commotion. Going downstairs, I saw a strange boy in the villa. The butler stood firm, blocking him from going upstairs. Master, the general instructed that no one may disturb Hunter. You dare stop me? Move aside. It was Kevin. Fair-skinned, cute-looking, very approachable. His eyes immediately locked on me. So, you're Landon's little lover. Not so impressive to look at either. I'm marrying him, do you know that? Why are you still here? Where will I stay then? I shrugged. Then sleep with me. You. Just joking. I asked Landon to separate from me, but he won't let me go. You're lying. He won't let you stay. Of course not. Why would I lie? Kevin looked suspicious. Not because you love him and don't want to give him to me. I answered without thinking. No, I don't love him. At that moment, I heard the butler cough softly. Turning my head, I realized Landon had returned, silently observing the scene with a dark expression. Kevin, seeing Landon, became even more excited. Landon, you heard him. He doesn't love you. The Alpha remained cold. So what? He still has to stay with me and have my children. I can give him everything. He won't leave me. 21. I never expected Landon to say such things. Kevin certainly didn't either. He stared at Landon like he was an incurable simp. Finally, Kevin left, slamming the door loudly behind him. I looked at Landon, about to speak, but he suddenly crouched down, pressing his face against my stomach. He sniffed me like a maniac. "Don't scare the baby." The cold shoulder strap of his uniform pressed against my stomach. "You don't like children, right?" I asked. Landon hummed. "I just don't like children born from others. But you giving me a child? No objection." He lifted me entirely and placed me on the sofa. "I've raised you all these years. Giving me a child? What's wrong with that? When will you let me go out?" I asked. He remained serious. I decided to tell the truth. After all, nothing could be hidden from Landon. I have evidence against the council, massacres, bribery, crimes. I've been collecting it all these years. My fists tightened on my knees. I hate him. I want revenge for the people of Blue Star who died. "No," Landon immediately rejected without thought. "If you hand over that evidence, I can't protect you." "I don't care." "I care," Landon said simply. "I can't lose you. Even if you hate me." "I don't hate you," I replied. "Why would you hate me? I pulled you out from the dead. You should thank me. But you not letting me avenge them. I'd be disappointed. You saw them die in front of me. For a long time, their faces haunted my dreams, and my mother's too. You know what I've been through." A long silence followed. "Fine," Landon finally sighed, half resigned, half relieved. "Do what you want. I'll protect you, baby." 22. In the days just before I was about to give birth, the all-powerful head of the Imperial Alliance was exposed. The news was everywhere, filled with his scandals. After resting in the hospital for a month, I finally returned to Blue Star, the city that was once desolate and ruined, now rebuilt. Where countless nameless graves once stood, the souls of the dead could finally rest in peace. For this trip, Landon had sent many people to protect me. At first, I thought he was overreacting, but when a knife actually pierced my belly, I finally understood what Landon meant. He couldn't protect me completely. If I had the chance to do it again, I would still make the same choice. I only regretted one thing. I wouldn't be able to watch my baby grow. And Landon, would he be sad? Jacob had told me that Landon loved me. He really did. So if I died, he would probably be very sad. 23. As my consciousness faded completely, I felt, in some way, that sadness myself. When I opened my eyes again, everything was blindingly white. A familiar smell of disinfectant filled my nose. "Doctor, the patient is awake." A hand grabbed mine tightly. I turned my head and saw Landon sitting beside my bed. His eyes slightly widened. It was the first time I had seen him look so disheveled, like he had cried heavily. "You cried?" I asked. "Hunter, you can't leave me with nothing," he said. He really seemed afraid of losing me. I could only smile to comfort him. "You'll never have nothing. You have power, fame, wealth, you already have it all. You're an enviable man. But compared to you, none of that matters. You are my most precious treasure." Hearing that, my heart trembled. "You know I love you, right?" he asked. "I know," I whispered. 24. This was the first time Landon confessed to me properly. He showed me, in every action, what love truly felt like. It was something so warm, so comforting. Later, Landon tracked down the assassin. They were remnants of the former council head's supporters. I had visited the council head in prison. He was still the same high and mighty, insufferable man. He told me he was not wrong. Everything I did was for the progress of human society, but even the lowest Omega has basic rights. You had no right to take away their right to live. The prison was cold. I covered my mouth and coughed softly. The path I walk will always have people walking with me. Even in my frail state, I could make flowers bloom. 25. Landon and I set our wedding for the end of the year. Evan had grown into a little man, but he was still as clingy as ever. Jacob was extremely envious. He said he wanted to be my best man. I teased him, "If you like, give birth to one yourself." He suddenly wiped away tears. "Your Alpha loves you so much. I'm jealous." "Isn't your Alpha the same? He would never marry me." Jacob gritted his teeth angrily. "But it's okay. I've decided not to love him anymore." "Hunter, you're right. Loving yourself comes first." I laughed. "So, you're leaving?" "Yes, I want to be as capable as you. You fought for so many Omega rights. I'm going to travel the world." Of course, I supported him. If it annoyed Alphas along the way, even better. "Hunter, you must be happy." "You too," I said. 26. Jacob's escape plan went smoothly. We kept in touch in a simple way, but his Alpha couldn't sit still. During breakfast, Landon got a call from his good friend. "Your Omega ran away. How can I help you?" I immediately knew it was about Jacob and couldn't help but laugh quietly. "You have to help me." Landon pulled me close and kissed my cheek. I mouthed a word at him, "Don't help." He shrugged. "Can't help you. I still have breakfast to eat with my wife." The voice on the other end immediately complained. "Hey, no showing off your happiness. We're just being sweet together. Single dog, deal with it yourself." Click, the call ended. In the soft morning light, Landon and I shared a long, lingering kiss.